right performed the more difficult, seldom-seen double twist with a slight form deduction and a hop on the landing. The gymnast on the left performed the single twist flawlessly and therefore scored higher. It would make more sense if the most difficult vault was worth more to begin with, so that even if there are deductions, the score should be more fair. For a routine to be worth a 10, it must meet basic difficulty requirements, showing skills of varying difficulty from A to D. If all of these value parts are met, including good composition and execution, the routine is worth a 9.6. The bonus point system is the most important part of the equation and was designed to award up to an extra 0.4 of a point for originality and/or extra difficulty. The level of difficulty in gymnastics has advanced so quickly that the bonus system doesn't work anymore. It's become too easy for all of the gymnasts to receive the bonus points. Therefore, it doesn't reward the gymnast that goes above and beyond the standard and does the most difficult routines.
Next up, Svetlana Boginskaya from Belarus. She's trying to be the first woman since Nadia Comaneci to win 3 European all-around titles.
And this is a perfect example of the scoring system problem. She has only one big skill coming up right here, and yet it's enough for this routine to be worth a 10.0. Her obvious strength is her impeccable form. Look at the straight legs, pointed toes, always a beautiful line. Very few deductions in this routine.
Now, Kathy, as you mentioned, this is a perfect example to point out the problems with the scoring in gymnastics. This routine has nowhere near the difficulty as the routines of Gojian and Gutsu. And yet, as you can see, with perfect form and style and execution that Boginskaya has, her score will probably be on a par with those much more difficult routines.
Ideally, a good scoring system should reward those who combine good form and superior difficulty.
The score for Boginskaya, 9.937. That moves her into the lead after 2 rotations. Tatiana Gutsu is preparing for the beam, and many feel this 15-year-old is the most promising of all the gymnasts in the Ukraine, a land which has produced many such champions. The Soviet flag was raised a record 18 times at the Olympic Games for the legendary Larisa Latinina. It flew 9 more times at the Olympics for Lyudmila Turistcheva. But they represented more than just the Soviet Empire, as each came from the hidden power within Soviet gymnastics, the Ukraine. The Ukraine was the second most populated republic in the USSR and stood on the frontier with Eastern Europe. It was known as the breadbasket of the Soviet Union. It was also an industrial power. But the Ukraine also possessed a strong national consciousness and an independent history, and those played a prominent role in the breakup of the Soviet Empire. Now, Ukrainian gymnasts want their colors to be known around the world.
We want to be first, as the Soviet Union was. We want the Ukraine to always be first, not the 3rd or 5th best in the world, but the first.
For many years, the finest athletes from the Ukraine and all across the Soviet Union came to the National Training Center outside of Moscow to live and train. It is here that the athletes who will represent the unified team in Barcelona are preparing for the Olympic Games. But after the Olympics, all the gymnasts will return home to their new independent nations.
There are many changes in life, in politics, in financial matters. I will have to leave my friends and coaches that helped me. Now everyone will move to her own republic. Before, everyone was together as one family. It's a little upsetting that it has fallen apart.
When the dismantling is complete and the athletes have returned home, they will leave second.
Here, a standing backflip with a full twist. Most gymnasts can't even do that on the floor, much less the balance beam. She has another difficult pass coming up right here. 2 layout somersaults in a row. Well done.
The Ukrainian Federation appears to be surviving the breakup well. They already have their own national training center located in Kiev, financial sponsorship from the West, and, of course, the obvious commitment to excellence.
They will probably thrive in the future, but keep in mind they'll still compete as a unified team at the Olympics in Barcelona, continuing to show more difficulty throughout this routine. She has an extremely difficult dismount sequence coming up here. She tumbles down the entire length of the balance beam, all the way through to a very difficult full twisting double back. Most of the gymnasts only do a double back. She adds that extra twist. Very risky routine, particularly in an all-around competition that is this close.
Well, 20 years ago, Olga Corbett and Nancy Thies were the first to do a standing backflip on the beam. Gutsu adds a full twist. Now her dismount sequence is 3 back handsprings through to a full twisting double back. The full twist happens in the first flip. This is a very rare combination. By the way, that full in will be done by 2 Americans in the Olympics in Barcelona.
Shannon Miller and Dominique Gauze.
Something to look forward to. So the mark, 9.925 for Gutsu on the beam. That sets the scene as Svetlana Boginskaya gets ready. In order to maintain her leadership position, she needs a 9.912.
She is very well known throughout the world, particularly for this event. As always, her excellent form. This is her first tumbling sequence. 2 layout step out. Ah, she changed it. I have never seen her do that combination before. That won't be a deduction because there was no break. But she certainly showed she's a true veteran, being able to make the correction mid-air. Boginskaya is very unique, and so is her career. Most people don't realize how fragile a gymnastics career is and how important timing is. She was just coming into her own for the 1988 Olympics, but was really at her best in the interim years at the World Championships. I really believe she's putting off retirement to enjoy one more Olympic Games. And at 19 years of age, she's still a favorite for Barcelona, along with America's Kim Zameskel. She really is a pleasure to watch as she perfects every movement. Her dismount is a round-off double back. We've said this over and over about this gymnast. She doesn't have the highest degree of difficulty, but her poise and presence are impressive.
Kathy, you mentioned that she changed this tumbling pass. She does a back handspring. She's supposed to do 2 layouts. There's one. Now watch on the second one. She puts her hands down on the beam. Amazing that she made that correction without giving away to a balanced break. This is a double backflip, and few people in the world know how to spot and plant the landing as well as she does. That'll help her in Barcelona.
And Boginskaya receives a 9.937, which will keep her in the lead at this point in the competition. Now let's go immediately adjacent to the uneven bars, where Cristina Fraguas from Spain, 15-year-old out of Madrid, is about to take her turn.
The most impressive aspect of this routine is her form. She has a toe point that most gymnasts only dream of. There's her one release move.
The head coach of the Spanish team, Jesus Carballo, has put together a really strong program, which includes, by the way, Sonia Fraguas, Christina's sister, and they really expect to win a medal or 2 this summer in Barcelona. And how many times has that happened? A world championship or an Olympic competition, the hometown kid pulls off a great surprise and wins at least a bronze medal.
Bart, it's sort of like hosting a party. You always put your best foot forward when the show comes to town. We wait for the judges to calculate the marks for Fraguas. And with 1 rotation remaining in the women's all-around competition, Svetlana Boginskaya is still on track for a 3rd consecutive title. Fraguas got a 9.825, which moves her into 4th place.
Is this seat taken?
It was built in the 15th century, during the most glorious period in the history of Brittany. We now begin our final rotation in the European Gymnastics Championships, and the battle lines are set between former Soviet teammates, now rivals on different republics, Boginskaya and Gutsu. But first, Bulgarian Snejana Ristikieva on the bars.
And though she's not in contention for the all-around, she's performing a skill we have never seen done by a woman before. It's right here